Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open eCry market commentary for the week of July 9th. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and we'll just be going through the charts here on some of the U.S. indices, foreign currencies, and commodities, and letting you know where the trade setups are for the upcoming week. So just taking a look here then at the S&P 500, we're looking here at the ES futures, and some of the higher time frames, the monthly chart. Again, as we talked about in the last couple weeks, we're looking for that bullish candle on the monthly chart, pulling back. Got that closeout over a week ago, right in the buy zone. And then last week we just got a break of that high of that monthly candle, which is really our signal to start to get long this market. So the market could obviously pull back a little further in here, but obviously the bottom of this candle is then where our stop is going to be located. So that defines our risk down here right around that 1254 level. As we move to the weekly chart, we can see the move up here. We're getting a slightly bearish indecisive candle right here, so we might be getting a pullback off of this most recent run for another push to go higher. Going down to the daily chart, we have this same 1340 level that we've been looking at here on the monthly chart, right? So we can see a number of touches in through here. Got a breakthrough here a number of days ago, and then we're just getting a pullback right back down into the moving averages on the daily chart. And then we have all the moving averages starting to get into alignment, the 200, the 50, the 20, and the 10. And if we put together a Fibonacci retracement right here on this most recent move in the markets, we can see that this pullback off of this most recent high around 1375 is pulling back, and we're dead at that, right above that 1340 level. And that also couples really nicely with the 50% retracement of that most recent move. And so as we move down to some of the other time frames, like the 120-minute chart, we can see the most recent high there in at 1375, and then we got that nice pullback. We've got a little reversal structure coming into play right here. If you look down at the 60-minute chart and the 30, you'll see some divergence setting up around here. We have a solid level, that level at 1340. So we could break down through that, but wouldn't be trading this short, even though on the lower time frames you'll find that all of these moving averages are rolled over, and it might look like a momentum breakout short, but we have to keep in mind that all of the other higher time frame charts are in an uptrend, both with higher highs, higher lows, as well as the moving averages beginning to fan out to the upside. So this is really, again, just a pullback into the moving averages. We don't know how far it's going to pull back, but again, we're looking for some of these 50% pullbacks, a 62% tracement, and put it back right in and amongst that 10-20 period moving average, which would be then another sensible place to begin getting long the markets. So overall, still bullish on these markets, looking for a breakout back up into this 1412 level, probably before that even the 1385 level, and then ultimately that 1420 level back at the top. And now moving down from the big cap stocks on the S&P 500, taking a look here at the small caps on the Russell 2000. Okay, so the ticker symbol there, TF. And we're looking here again at some of the higher time frames, and things are kind of looking the same. Again, we have that bullish candle on the monthly chart. We got a break of the high of that candle, signaling us to go long. Looking then at the weekly chart, we can see the same thing. We don't have the moving averages on the 10 and the 20 crossed back up, but if we can get a move higher, if those get crossed back up, everything will be back in alignment, and the moving averages fanning out, which will be a very strong trend, looking to move back up into that level of around 850. As we get down to the daily chart, things start to look a little bit clearer here. We have that 780 level that we've been talking about for quite a while now. It was a support level, and then we broke through that. Then it became a resistance level, and now that we've broken well through that, all the way up to almost the 820 level, we're getting a pullback. And ideally, what we'd want to see here is a pullback, right back down into right into that 780 level. If we can get a coupling with, see, like right here, we've got a coupling with that 62% level on the most recent move from here to here. And so if we can get a pullback into that save 780 level, that would really be ideal from a number of vantage points to get long this market back up into that 820 and then beyond. Not that that's all going to happen this week, but that's kind of the general theme of what the markets are looking like technically. As we look at some of the lower time frames, you're going to see a lot of these moving averages rolling over to the downside, but again, keep in mind that this is just looking to be a pullback into the 10-20 period moving average. Now, it may not get back this far to 62%. You might see a bounce here at 50%, because looking at the S&P 500, you can see that the majority of the markets have, or the indices have already pulled back into that buy zone around the 10 and 20 period moving average. So the pullback here on the Russell may not be as deep as some of the other indices. So keep that in mind. But again, we're still bullish on the small caps here on the Russell. Just looking for the optimal entry point, and so you want to be keeping an eye on some of these lower time frames. If we get a little bit of a reversal structure here and some divergence, if you get some overextension from the moving averages, again, look for that snapback as being kind of the initial move to kind of get the trend reversed again and going back up to the upside on the lower time frames, and then everything will be in agreement with all of the higher time frame charts in terms of everything moving back up to the top side and looking to move back into this 850 level and then retest those highs, and then we'll have to see where we go from there. So that's kind of what we're looking at on some of the small cap stocks and the Russell Index. And we haven't looked at gold in a while, but taking a look at, again, some of the higher time frames here. The monthly chart, obviously, if you've been tracking gold, been in a long uptrend for, just a number of years here, all the way back to, 2005, 2006. So we finally just put in here in the last 6 months or so a lower high and a lower low. So we do have a change in trend here on the higher time frame. And then as we start to move down to the weekly chart, we can see that we do have some lower highs, lower lows, and we're actually trending down with some lower highs into this flat level right around that 1530 area. And we actually on the weekly chart have a nice candle that just set up last week right in the sell zone. Moving averages are rolled over, the 50, the 20, the 10, and a nice sell candle right there against that 1615 level, which looks very attractive. Don't have a breakthrough of the low of that candle yet, but that would be our short signal to get short back down into some of these levels. As we move down to the daily chart, we can see some of the congestion around here. We actually just put in this high right here, and then we actually put in a lower high, and then we're actually looking to potentially put in a lower low, or at least we can trade this back down into that 1550 level and start to take some profit there, and then look for potentially another move down to that 1520 level, and then see where we go from there. But looking pretty bearish on gold. As you can see, all the moving averages rolled over. We can move down to the 120-minute chart. And what I'd be looking for on some of these intermediate time frames, the 240, the 480, the 120, start to look for those setup candles in and around that sell zone and see if there's an opportunity to get short into some of these other levels. And that could be a potentially decent setup for the week ahead. Okay, so that's the outlook on gold for the week. And here looking at cocoa, don't cover this one too often, but there's some respectable technical setups here looking at this particular commodity. And again, looking at the higher time frame here, the monthly, we can see that we have the moving averages rolling over, lower highs, lower lows, and we can see that really clearly on the weekly chart with everything in alignment, the 200, the 50, the 20, the 10. And so things moving to the downside, we have a flat level set up here, and it looks like we have we're not looking to go short here. It looks like we have a reversal pattern setting up. We have some significant divergence here on the weekly chart, which can be very powerful. So we're actually looking for a reversal of this move, and I'll show you how this works. We just have a nice reversal structure here on the daily. We've got divergence set up, and now we have a higher low in place, and we just put in a higher high in place with this candle just about 3 days ago, last week. And so we're getting a pullback right back down into the moving averages on the daily chart. We have all the moving averages, well, at least the 50, the 20, the 10, have just all turned up. They're getting into alignment, and we're looking to push higher to potentially break this level at right around 2370. So as we look at the weekly chart, we can see some of the levels here. There's a level in here right around 2475 where we might get some consolidation before pushing higher, but really the next resistance level is going to be 2581, and then after that 2927. So not all can happen obviously in the same week, but we're just looking here for a change in trend here, and we're looking to get a setup here on some of these intermediate time frames, and looking for the daily on down, the 480, the 240, and looking for those pullbacks into the buy zone to get long cocoa. So keep an eye out for the intermediate time frames for those trend flow setups, and looking for those bullish candles in the buy zone. and you should be able to find some good trades there on cocoa in the upcoming days. So that's the update for the markets and the outlook for this week. We'd like to thank you for watching the OpenECRI market update for this week, and we do look forward to speaking to you again next week on the OEC market commentary.